Good morning, everyone. This is Nathan Lindorf with The Rational Independent. Today, we're doing a Reddit rant. Shockingly, we're back to Business Insider. We're back to the Dominion voting systems lawsuit against Fox News, and they are doing something that is important, but it's a little weird. So I'm going to give you a little context. For those of you who are lucky enough to have never been involved in a lawsuit before, there's a phase of a lawsuit called discovery. So the idea is anyone can file a lawsuit against anyone else. If there's no merit to it, then if someone files a lawsuit against you, you can have the judge just throw it out. If there is something there that needs to be tried, then you go into a phase that's called discovery. And discovery is where basically you can compel the other party to give you a bunch of otherwise private information. Emails, text messages, voicemails. This is where you get a chance to try and confirm your theory of the case, try and provide evidence why you're suing them in the first place. The interesting thing is, so that's the legal process, and then they go through and then there's a whole trial and adjudication and all that stuff. But the interesting little nugget, the nuance here, is something called lawfare. The idea is it's kind of warfare using legal means, cultural warfare. So you can use a lawsuit to get discovery, and then you can go through those discovery documents and you can find things that are politically useful to you or your allies, and it's now your information. You received it legally, lawfully, through the discovery process. You can then do whatever you'd like with it, generally speaking. It looks like that's kind of what Dominion is doing. So this article says, Rupert Murdoch gave Jared Kushner confidential information about Biden's 2020 ads before they were public. Dominion is alleging Fox committed defamation, damaged Dominion by their lies. However, now Dominion is including in its court filing, as part of the discovery process, an allegation of essentially political corruption, that Rupert Murdoch is allied with Trump and his family, President Trump and his family. And so during the election, President Biden, or candidate Biden, puts ads on Fox News. And those ads, of course, get submitted to the network. They get reviewed before they get published. And what they're alleging is that the CEO of Fox News said, let's go ahead and give my buddy a leg up. Hey, I have access to this confidential information. Would you like to come and get a preview of these ads? And, go ahead and create some targeted attack ads or response ads. Even you can get started on that even before they're published. That's definitely pretty skeevy, if that's the case. That's basically what we're talking about when it comes to this article. They dig into a little bit. They review some of the facts about the overall case. They say that this came out in a new filing. So again, kind of a little court jargon. The idea is that as you go through and you prepare certain motions, as you present certain information to the court, you file it with the court. So it's called a filing. Business Insider actually did include some counter quotes to their narrative, which I appreciate. They said, in response to Insider's request for comment, a Fox News spokesperson said, in part, that Dominion was mischaracterizing the facts. That Dominion was cherry-picking any soundbite it can find from any corner of the Fox organization, even though it admits in its brief, 117 pages later, that most of that evidence is utterly irrelevant to the legal issues in this case. Now, I know I covered Dominion once already, and it sounds like it's probably going to come up multiple times as it moves its way through the courts. But this is an important thing to consider. We are all outsiders looking in, and even the two adversarial parties, each of them only has part of the picture. And the judge, you hope, is fair and dispassionate and well-rested and able to absorb a tremendous amount of information and gain as much of a global picture as he can of all the actions back and forth and all of the relevant case law, and come up with a ruling that is as fair as possible. That's what you hope for. But none of us is perfect. The justice system fails all the time. It's better than chaos, but it's definitely riddled with faults and errors. So it's no guarantee that we'll get a fair result out of this. It's also worthwhile to just put a measure of caution on as we form our own opinions, recognizing that as outsiders looking in, we have a very partial view of the facts. And usually, as we're absorbing those facts, they're coming through a biased medium. So we need to recognize, hey, we're getting one side of the story here. One good habit when it comes to news consumption. And I learned this from, I want to say Ben Shapiro of all people. One of the things that's a good logical test for the information you're consuming is similar to Occam's razor. Occam's razor is the rule that says, among all the available solutions, whichever one is the simplest is most likely to be correct. Similarly, we should come up with a funny razor for this, but when you are looking at a contested fact pattern, so in the law they use that term, fact pattern, the idea of these are a collection of discrete pieces of information or events or things that occurred or were said that form a pattern, and from that kind of pointillistic, impressionistic, pattern, we can draw inferences about the more global picture, because no one ever gets the full picture in a lawsuit. If you're looking at that, at the fact pattern, generally you have facts that are alleged by the plaintiff and facts that are alleged by the defendant. And every once in a while, they overlap. So they might both agree that the partnership in question was formed at X date. They might both agree that this statement was made by this person in this context. They might even agree this is what was said in that statement. Again, particularly if there's a written record or an audio record, it's easy to establish that sort of thing. But then there's going to be other facts that are disputed. Other facts that one party says this happened, the other party says no, it didn't. When you're looking at consuming news information, one important thing is to say, okay, I'm getting this information from a source that is biased. That's because they're human. All humans are biased. So which way is their bias? You look at it and you say, okay, this is generally a left-leaning biased outlet. Can I find someone else who's biased the other direction? Can I find someone else who's going to slant the picture the other way? Then, can I take a look at these two pieces of news, and can I identify facts in the fact pattern that they both agree with? And you can be reasonably assured that those are actually true. A lot of everything else is going to be conjecture. A lot of everything else is going to be supposition, or it's going to be subjective interpretations of the fact pattern. But if you're willing to go through, particularly in a contested contest like this, particularly a ideologically aligned contest like this, it is very, very useful to get into the disciplined habit of comparing one set of facts with facts from another differently biased source. That's going to lead you to more quality information. It's going to lead you to a firmer ground to stand on as you're forming your own opinions. That is my Reddit rant today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.